Response video on this vegetarian argument, follow-up to one of the reply videos. I'll try to get to the others eventually, but this is going to get long. I mean, there's going to be a lot of videos on this subject, and I don't like being redundant, but you're almost forced to be. Anyway, and I've been caught up in an argument at Vloggerhead, so I'll post a link. I haven't updated the website in a couple of days, so it's like 10 videos behind, but I got the whole thing about economics over there and socialism and inheritance and birthright and all that kind of crap. So if you're interested in that shit, there's some shit over there. Anyway, so back to the argument here, and it's some guy, Thorn Thistle, something like that. So I'll try to hit the spots where he says something of interest.
Video, like maybe
wrong place.
Animals are on the same or similar level as the lives of humans because of their sentience and because they have feelings and all that. I disagree. First of all, I just disagree. I think that the lives of humans are more important than animals, and I see that because I'm human and I'm selfish. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that, but yeah. That's pretty much it.
But that doesn't sound a logical argument. To say I'm selfish is to say I'm addicted, and so that's why heroin is good, because I'm addicted. No, there's an argument to be made. What is the merit of it? Separate from your addiction or your preference or your prejudice or your attachments. I mean, you can't just say your life is more important and then leave it at that because you feel it. You have to make a logical frickin' argument. You have to explain why that thing is substantially different than your thing. That if I cut a rat's leg off, it's substantially different than if I cut your leg off. That what the organism will feel, what the conscious experience it will endure, is going to be substantially different. And obviously I could pick a gorilla and say, okay, I'm going to, crack a gorilla's skull. So explain to me how cracking a gorilla's skull is different than cracking your skull as a conscious experience. It's not all about life and death. It's about treatment. Farmed animals are not treated well. Okay, go to a pig farm in America. All right, wear a gas mask. Make sure you wear a gas mask, because there's no other way you're going to survive the experience.
Going on yourself, you elect to not eat animals. However, other animals that are carnivores, eat other animals, and you would eat humans with no problem. So to me, I think it's a little bit egotistical to think that you know better than these animals that you claim have the same sort of value that humans do.
Well, that's just denying intelligence. Whether they have value or not doesn't have anything to do about whether they have intelligence. I'm rational. I have a brain, okay, that's been designed to be a rational thinking machine. It's been designed to do logic. And over thousands of years, we've acquired an understanding of how the world works. We've acquired information. I'm able to process that information and draw conclusions. I'm allowed to manipulate. I'm capable of manipulating things and making things happen, pulling little triggers, and something happens. I'm able to do that. The planet Earth can't do that. Raw physical forces can't do that. The process of evolution can do that over 4 billion years, but it can't do it in one day. It's idiotic to default to nature. I mean, if you're an atheist, you're just now declared nature God. You said it makes sense. It's something to defend. It's not something to critique. It's not something to scrutinize. It's not something to analyze and figure out whether it makes any fucking sense or not. No, we're just to presume it makes sense. That's it. Let's just presume it. That's idiotic. It's sentient creatures eating feeling creatures. It's stupid. It's idiotic. Only a fucktard, no rational intelligence would invent such a stupid system. Let's go to the next one. 350 something. The sound effect. How do you like that? A sound effect.
And it is delicious, in my opinion. It's not an ethical issue. It's just we like meat, so we eat it. For the most part, yeah.
It's not an ethical issue. Why? Because you declared it not an ethical issue? I could say I have hard penis, I therefore shall rape woman. That's what my penis is for. That's what I'm for. So I'll just take what I want. No, we know that that's not the way you play the game, because we know that the woman has rights and she's a human being and all this other crap. Now, if I was an animal, I wouldn't worry about that. I would just do what I felt like doing. But we're not just animals. We're thinking, competent machines here. We can do better than that. So saying you like meat is completely irrelevant. I like meat. Didn't have anything, my decision had nothing to do with what I liked. It had to do with what I thought was acceptable behavior, what I thought was an acceptable circumstance. And I decided it wasn't acceptable for me to impose pain on something else to feed my existence, that I couldn't justify deriving my happiness from something else's misery. I mean, it's not that fucking complicated a question. All right. Sorry, I don't mean to be impolite. You were polite, and so I'll try to be polite in response. But I hate what you're saying. All right, 3:30. Well, that's going backwards. So hell with that. We'll just skip that one, whatever it was. Go up to this 4 o'clock.
Vegetarians that we have to, like, we feel that we need to defend ourselves and say, you know, you're full of shit, which is what some people say. No.
Yeah, well, it's not about you defending yourself. It's just about admitting what you're doing, okay? There's a physical fact. You can sit there and you've basically declared that the animals don't feel, or that they don't feel enough, that when you add up all the nickels and dimes of the amount of their suffering, you convert it into pennies even. You don't think it's enough pennies for you to worry about, because what you feel is dollar bills, or what you feel is $10,000 bills. And so you can justify the equation. You can put your happiness on one side of the scale, you can put the animal suffering on the other side of the scale, and you're somehow guaranteed that your happiness is heavier. I don't think you've made that rational argument. All you've done is declare it. You've just pushed your finger on the scale and said, therefore I am. Okay? But you haven't made any rational argument explaining how you can completely diminish those other organisms, especially considering that they are just minor percentage points different than us in terms of their genetic reality, and also understanding that we know where we acquired our enhanced competence, and that before we were informed, before we had a language and books, we were just as much an animal as the average kangaroo.